All right. So welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Innovators Roundtable. Tonight, we are super fortunate to be joined by Roundtable member Shawn Davis. Shawn has been in the product development space for a number of years and has generously offered to share some of his biggest lessons along the way. For those of you meeting Shawn for the first time, he's one of our many members with an engineering background and experience in entrepreneurship, running a pest management company. As you likely saw on the event flyer, our Halloween in July session, Shawn has successfully licensed 2 Halloween products. These products were licensed to the same company, and Shawn is also having a contract renewal coming up, so we'll be talking about that. We are very, very fortunate to learn from Shawn tonight as he shares a few of his biggest licensing blunders throughout his journey as an inventor. So we'll be touching on a couple different topics, like coming out of your shell, losing time or money, and some contract conditions. It's a fantastic opportunity to gain insights from somebody that's navigated the challenges and triumphs of bringing creative ideas to the market. Please take a moment, get yourself situated, paper, pen. You want to jot down notes. We cover a lot of valuable information during these calls, and you will be glad you came prepared. It's really so great to hear from everybody. So I encourage you, if you do have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. If speaking at this time isn't convenient for you, you're more than welcome to drop your question in the chat. I try to get to everybody in the order in which they've presented their hand or their question, but we do our best. Also, again, feel free to drop your LinkedIn link in the chat and connect with our supportive and really talented members. It's a really great group. I'm so thankful for all of you. So for tonight, I'm going to start with just a few quick fire questions, just a few for Shawn, just to get everybody caught up on the basic details of his licensing experience, followed by a period to review his top lessons. After that, again, we'll open it up to questions, but as always, if you have anything like really burning questions, feel free to interrupt or raise your hand. We'll get to you. And before we start, again, just a huge thank you to everyone for being here for another awesome session. And huge thanks to Shawn for allowing us to learn from you. We really, really appreciate it. So, okay, let's get going. Shawn, couple quick fire questions. When did you start your product development journey?
I would say in general, probably about 6 years ago was when I actually thought of an idea that I wanted to do something with. So I've always kind of been creative. And in my job, that was what I was paid to do. But, I think I just got that itch one day when you solve the problem for someone and they make a lot of money off of it. And then you don't get much. And it's like, all right, well, I got to start looking up for myself a little bit. So yeah, about 6 years ago, I would say, and started doing some prototyping and stuff on the side. And I found InventRight, and although I wasn't a student, I watched all of the free resources on YouTube, read all the books, everything I could to just soak up as much information as I could.
Yep. And then you eventually joined InventRight, is that correct?
So I did pay for a few of like the small services. Like I think I did one of the sell sheet services, and then I did a contract review with Paul. So those are the 2 things that I've paid for.
Okay, so that's amazing. So you were able to get your licensing deals without any specific coaching other than the licensing contract. So that's congratulations, Shawn. That's really kind of unheard of. Did you at any point want to bring the products to market yourself, or were you always kind of blinders on with the licensing goal?
I actually did try to bring my first product to market. I only sold it for about 2 years, and it was a winter product, and it only sold on Etsy, and like on my website, I probably sold 50 of them.
Okay.
And then I kind of just dropped the idea, and I'm still waiting to license it. I'm going to start trying again to keep pitching it, but that was as far as I got. It was a lot of work. I mean, it was just a lot of, I mean, licensing in general is, there's a lot to learn to get decent at it. And then on the trying to do your own e-commerce store and
Yeah.
creating ads and things like that, it just really wasn't my wheelhouse. So I just kind of tried to take a break, and I folded up shop on that, and then just stuck to licensing.
So are you sitting on a lot of inventory with that product at the moment?
No, no, I probably had like 25 pieces left, and I
Oh,
tossed them.
okay.
I tossed them because I didn't want to the embodiment of it that I was able to create isn't necessarily the one that I would want to license to someone, because it's kind of one that I had to DIY.
Okay.
Um,
Were
so
you
I
3D printing it yourself?
yeah, part of it, yeah. And I was buying another part wholesale and kind of modifying it with my parts and then selling it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. We could do a whole session on just that. Maybe we'll just bring it back for round two of your venturing journey. So
Yeah.
um moving forward again now, from your that you started with a winter product and now you're in the Halloween space. How long did it take you from ideation to get your first licensing deal um is it the stack pumpkin stack
Yeah.
first or the
Yeah.
candle first?
So I pitched it as two separate products,
Okay.
um, and they kind of combined it into a kit, and then also created a new item like this past year of just selling the lights by themselves. So it's two separate SKUs now.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen really quickly just to make sure everyone has had a chance to see your product here. Unless do you have the merchandise right by you, Sean?
Uh, no, I don't, but I,
No,
I was just
no
going to go to the
problem.
website and show it too.
Okay. I'll do this for now. So
Oh, perfect.
this is the lighting kit.
Yep.
So do you want to explain it really quickly?
Yeah, so pretty much it's really simple. So a lot of people use these little LED tea lights to light their jack-o'-lanterns. And I thought it would be kind of cool to be able to just attach the lights to the lid of the pumpkin. So
Okay.
these lights just press into the lid of the pumpkin so that they're easy to access when you turn them on and off.
Nice. And that was this the first product, or I'm sorry, I know you just
The other one was
the other one. Okay,
yeah,
so let
yes.
me pull up that one really quickly. And here's the other, the stack pumpkin stacker,
Yeah, the Stack-O-Lantern kit is
stack
what
o'
it is.
lantern.
Yeah, and yeah, pretty much it's these plastic pieces that you use to stack pumpkins on top of each other to create these interesting like displays. And they have lights built into them. So these little T lights
Nice.
press into them, and then they kind of direct the light downward. And yeah, it's just something fun.
Very fun, very fun. Okay, Serena has her hand up. Let's hear from Serena and we'll move on here.
Hi, it's so nice. Can you hear me okay?
A little bit.
Yep.
Maybe yell a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you're choppy.
Okay. Go back, come back.
We'll come back to Serena. Okay, so Sean, so those are the two products that you licensed to the same company.
Yep.
And were there any, or are there any other products that you've licensed at this point?
Successfully, no. There's one that I have a contract that I'm reviewing for right now.
Okay.
That looks like it's going to happen. It's just kind of been a little bit touch and go for a little while.
Okay, and is that in the Halloween space too?
No, no, it's in like traffic safety for like people working in construction zones.
Excellent. Okay, super, very useful. That's great. Okay.
Can you hear me okay? Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me?
Serena, you sound great now.
Okay,
Yep.
good. My earbuds were
So Shawn, real quick, I was gonna ask you about the venturing, but we could get that, at that, come back to that at some point. The enhancements on your product was really cool, like that you thought of, like having the scoop with the other plastic parts that stack it. Like you included things that would be very appealing. It was really, I think, important. Like
It wasn't my idea. I won't take credit for it.
Well, whoever's idea was, bravo.
Yeah, it was the licensee. They felt like they could compete at a higher price to have the whole kit.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was really cool. Well, I'm glad that you went with them. Public disclosure. How did you handle that?
As far as when I was initially pitching to different companies?
Yeah, that's something like, I mean, was that something that your licensee was concerned about? And there's such a fine line with public disclosure because, you have to tell people about your product, but you also, did you have a PPA before you started trying to get licensed, or? Yeah.
So I I filed my own PPA just like most of you guys have done. And I went to about, I want to say 30 companies I pitched the idea to. And
That's
although
really
a lot of them said, oh, cool, they just passed on it for one reason or another. Some of them were afraid that it was just going to get knocked off quickly because in that space, it's a lot of overseas manufacturers.
Yep.
And the one that I took a break from pitching it. So I probably pitched it for 4 or 5 months and no luck. And I worked on other ideas to get some of my other ideas to that stage. And then I came back to it with some fresh eyes. And initially I pitched it to all Halloween companies. And I thought I had exhausted all of them. And then I was watching Shark Tank one night and I saw a company on there that had other holiday products. And so I pitched it to them, and then they were the ones that ultimately took it.
You have like the Herb Amidard magic, apparently.
Well, it was a long time. The negotiation process was a lot of back and forth and wait. And it was a process, but it all worked out. And, I learned a lot. There's a lot of details.
Right. But were they concerned about that, the public disclosure part of it?
So I didn't publicly disclose it, while I was pitching it. Some of my meetings were through NDA. Ultimately, I had a year to pitch it anyways, and I ended up licensing it within that year.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And they didn't necessarily want a patent or require a patent. I had offered to pay for design patents, which I ended up doing. And they were happy for that. And right now, they both have design patents on them that were granted.
Yes.
And and the trademark, interestingly, I don't believe they own the trademark. I believe their manufacturer has rights to the trademark of the name. I wasn't really involved with the naming of it, so I didn't try to take any rights to that. And then that's kind of how it's gone.
Cool. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Serena. Michael has a hand, and just quickly, we have a couple new members on board right now. Clark is here. Welcome, Clark. And Tryman has arrived. So welcome, guys. Michael, what would you like to ask Shawn?
Yeah. Hey, Shawn. Earlier it was said that you use the InventRight contract review, which to me means that you didn't really go through the coaching process and you pretty much went ahead and started contacting companies. You start getting a contract together. I mean, I find that extremely impressive. So awesome that you did that. And I'm just kind of curious, did you use any books or anything to try to learn how to do?
I mean, I read
stuff,
every book out there. I pretty much either read or read a summary of. And I watched, I mean, every single YouTube video on InventRight from InventRight multiple times, and I took notes. I'm pretty diligent when it comes to detailed notes, and I mean, if there were questions that I had, that I looked other places for answers, and then I just kind of developed a kind of rhythm. Like once you start talking to companies, and I wasn't and not to just kind of bounce around, but like I wasn't really afraid of getting knocked off. Like I went into this idea with not a whole lot of like skin in the game.
Mhm.
So I was just looking to learn from this process, to be honest with you. And I thought that, just go full speed ahead. And I'm really, really glad I did that, because I have other ideas that I know are going to need protection. And I'm glad I didn't do those first. Like this has been, and I would suggest to do the same, even if it's a simple idea. And just getting used to talking to companies, getting used to staying organized with your notes and your follow-ups, getting used to hearing people say no. I mean, it's a whole different reasons people say no. And once you hear 40 no's for like 40 different reasons, your pitch changes. Like when you go in to talk to the next people the first time, there are things that you ask yourself because you want to kind of know like what kind of company they are. And I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I would get one answer from one person, and then 3, 4, 5 weeks later, I realized I'm not talking to the person that makes the decision. And so a lot of time was wasted talking to a lot of people at a lot of different companies. So one of the biggest things when I either my first or second conversation with a company now is, who's the decision maker? What's your process? What time of year do you typically launch new products? Things like that, so that I make sure that I'm not wasting my time and I don't have to repeat things and try to sell people on different things. So yeah, it was a lot of lessons learned. I made a lot of mistakes that I won't make again. But once the fear is out the window, and I mean, when you do this system where you're just pitching with a PPA and a prototype and some marketing materials, I mean, you can do that cheap. And so that kind of takes the fear out of it, and be confident that, you're here because you're a creative person, and, you come up with problem solutions. You're always going to do that. It's just a matter of what you're going to do with them. So don't be afraid to test the waters. I mean, how else are you going to learn,
Yeah, well, that's pretty impressive. So basically you kind of jumped into the deep end basically and just went
Renegade.
for it. That's awesome. That's awesome. But was there a specific like book that you maybe use for like the actual licensing agreement, or was that just kind of
Yeah, I'm
around the
sure there
fly?
was. I'm sure there was a book. I'm sure there was. I took pieces from like ones I saw online, and I knew that whatever I put on the table as far as an agreement, it was going to get looked over by their lawyers. So I wasn't afraid of just throwing whatever out there. If there was something in it that they didn't like, they would add it. And so rather than paying for a lawyer, I mean, you could piece something together or just push it on them to do it, because at the end of the day, they're probably going to have a lawyer go over it anyways. So
Gotcha. And then how'd you find the InventRight contract review process? Like, because that sounds like that's like a 2-hour thing or something like that, or
it's with Paul, I believe, and I forget what the process was, but it was like you just pay a certain amount and they'll review it and kind of make sure you have the big things in there and explain to you why they're important. I think that is really valuable too, is because
Paul is the shit.
yeah, he was a good guy, and he explained things well. And I mean, there are even things now that I have learned with this recent contract negotiation that I'm going to do differently next time, because I should have brought things up a lot sooner that I should have tried to push in, and it's too late now, really, because I've kind of shown all my cards. So
Is there
understanding
a specific
contracts.
example, Shawn? I'm sorry to interrupt, but is there a specific example that you can think of off the top of your head, something that you would have pushed in earlier?
Yeah, I wish I would have better understood their sales process. So with this new company that I'm working with, they really just sell one product, but that
Okay.
one product is in Home Depot, and it's in Walmart, and it's in a lot of other big retailers. But the problem is they don't sell online. And my new product, I believe, is more of an online product. And so I wish I would have questioned them in the beginning, like, can you give me an example of one of your SKUs and how many units you typically sell to your wholesalers? When do your wholesalers place order? Just a lot of things that could give me a better sense of like what I could have pushed for minimum guarantees, like what I could have pushed for as far as a successful number of minimum units before they would maybe hand the contract back over to me. I didn't ask about any of that stuff, and I think that's going to be in my template moving forward, is try to, in that first or second meeting, try to get a sense of what their sales process is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
And then,
oh, go ahead,
I'm
Michael.
sorry. And then did you ultimately use like a contract attorney to sign your first agreement, or did you just kind of skip all that, or?
So it was pretty roughed out, and then Paul reviewed it, and he just had me note a few things, and then when I sent it over to the company, their lawyer marked up a few things, and that's it. Signed it.
So, okay. Well, thank you. It's
Yep.
awesome.
All right. Thanks, Michael. I know Hervé has a question, and Shawn, before we get to that, one of the topics that you did mention is, as an area that you would have done differently, you did mention the contract issues and minimums. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to that as a, important lesson for us moving forward?
I definitely need to get better at staying focused, like throughout those first few meetings, because one of the things I'd heard on InventRight is, try to be like buddy with them, like early on in the getting to know them, because that is when they're going to reveal things that they wouldn't otherwise reveal later down the road, because it kind of weakens their position.
Yeah.
So I'm just not a salesy person, but it's in my own best benefit, I think, moving forward, to like just try to like pick apart, like, okay, well, what's your typical marketing budget every year for this product that you currently sell? And hey, how well is it selling? How many years has it been selling for? What kind of margins do you make on that? And do you think you can make similar margins on this product? Is everything made overseas, or just ask the questions that that give you a little bit more firepower with your decisions later down the road. Because they're not going to be as open to that stuff once they say, hey, I want this product. Once that happens, it's like their mouth shuts up, and it's just like short answers back and forth, because no one wants to give more ground than they have to. So, but I would say that, like, you can be in that buddy phase for a while, because sometimes this takes a few months.
Yeah.
And you can just, as they're gaining interest, and in that early phase, like they're the ones that are pulling and trying to like get you in their corner. So those are the times where I think it's important to push a little bit, and just to like act like you know what you're doing.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, really.
With the online issue, have you inquired? I mean, is there any chance that they're moving in that direction to Amazon, or
So
is there a way
right
for
now,
you to do it on Amazon yourself, or?
So I had asked that question last week, and I said, all right, I understand you guys are successful in retail. My gut tells me that this really isn't a retail product. It has a little bit of education to be had. Like, someone, I feel like, would have to see an ad to see it in action, to be like, hey, I want that.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that on a retail shelf, because the product itself isn't in a package. Even though it'll hang on like a hanger, it doesn't have a large space on it for like a visual representation of how you use it. So I had mentioned that, and they said, if that is the case, like, we're okay, we're comfortable throwing some marketing money at this product to try and push it a little bit.
Okay.
But in my mind, it's just like, why wouldn't you? Like, why don't you push your other products on Amazon? Like, are you doing really that well where you don't have to, or is it just an inefficiency like in how you workflow things?
Right, not enough
Because
manpower.
it's a very small company.
Right, yeah.
This new one, it's literally probably 10 people. So there are things with different size companies that I think you got to be aware of too. But I think as long as you're talking to the deal, like the decision maker in a small company, like you're okay. But anyways, yeah.
Wow. So much great information already, Shawn. Thank you so much. Let's get to Hervé and then Michelle.
All right, so when you set out to build your prototype, did you consider material? Did you consider, how much it would be per unit, how much it would go for at retail value? Did you put all these things into, have all these things in consideration when you built it?
Yeah, so when I first came up with the idea, I have to credit my wife. Like she was the one that said, "Oh, I think this is actually a good idea." I was actually pursuing other ideas that I had a little bit more passion to, and she's like, "No, this is good. If I saw this on the shelf, like I would buy this as a activity kit." And I said, "Okay." Well, then I went online and I looked to see what these things would sell for. Because originally my design was not what the end design ended up being. But I got an idea of what it would retail for. I divided it in half and I said, okay, if they wholesale it for this number, so say it retails for 20, they wholesale it for 10, they should probably be able to make it for less than $2 or $2.50, something like that. And I felt confident that since it was just injection molded plastic, it was going to be cheap. And I looked up and saw how cheap those little LED tea lights were. And I felt like, okay, as long as they can source these things, like they're going to do just fine. But yeah, I mean, I went through a few prototypes. I 3D printed them, I tested them out, and what I pitched to them, they kind of ran with, and got some feedback from their manufacturer, and they come back with an even better version of it. And so that was great. So I leaned on them for that. And one thing I would say is, when you're prototyping, I always try to get things like, I iterate a lot and I try to get them really good. But I'm doing that less and less because they're going to want the product to look the way that makes sense for them. So it's got to make sense for them to manufacture it, but it's also got to fit in the package that they want to retail it at. If they want to sell it on Amazon, it really has to fit in a certain size package. And
so are you doing less and less because you don't want to waste time because it's going to have to make changes?
It's going to change anyways. Yeah. And so I think as long as it shows the value in the end product, and you have written your PPA in a way that's like kind of broad, it's fully okay. And they don't want someone coming to them with a buttoned up idea. Most companies don't. And say, hey, this is what it is. This is what it's always going to be. Do you want it? Yes or no? I mean, I wish I could go to people with line drawings and sketches and be like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And then once they buy in and start like brainstorming and seeing how they could do things, that creates like momentum, and it kind of pulls them into like pushing your product forward, especially if they're like, hey, let's just think about this and brainstorm. And when you begin to work as a team, and not just like, hey, this is my idea, take it or leave it, like that goes a long way too, because it shows a lot about your personality, that you're like easy to deal with, and you definitely don't want to come off as controlling at all. And don't be afraid to say, hey, this is how I envision this. And I wouldn't be afraid to say too, like, I envision it this way because I have experience in this field and this is what works for me. But if you invent something, you can say, hey, like, I don't really know much about this field, but it works like this. Like, can you see it going somewhere? I mean, I think people want to be part of the creative process. So I would do that. And moving forward, that's what I plan to do. So.
Wow.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. That's Really, really great info.
Yeah, that's such an interesting take, Sean. I love that idea of like letting them have a little bit more say, have a little more fun, have a little play.
Oh yeah.
Leaving it a little more abstract for room for rather than going in with like a theme perhaps or a real specific aesthetic, have it a little more
No.
generalized so they can sort of tweak it to their own, whether it's a product line that already exists or maybe something in the making that we don't have, like we're not privy to. That way it gives
Yeah.
them the opportunity to envision it in that line. And that's such a great call, Sean. Michelle.
Yeah, I was just going to say one more thing too. Is
Yeah,
like if you
please.
just think of their internal process, like if they have designers on hand, every quarter or so, like those designers are bringing them ideas that aren't fully fleshed out either. Like they're just
Okay.
seeing what sticks. And so if you can just kind of insert yourself as being one of those, as valuable as one of those designers that just brings them ideas, like I think that's the way to do it.
Really interesting, Sean. I like that. Michelle.
Whoopsie. Okay, my hand's still. Yeah, hi, thanks a lot for sharing all your knowledge. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I want to have a little bit more of an understanding. You said you're upset about the contract that they don't promote on Amazon, but wouldn't the seller, okay, like your licensee, when they sell it to the Walmarts and the Home Depots, would they be on the Home Depot websites maybe or their websites, or how does that work? Like when they promote their, the products on their shelves, your product is one of them. Would that be on the internet under Walmart?
Great question.
Yeah, but how many other products are you competing with? And they have no control over what gets put out there. So it's usually just a picture and a description, on a Walmart website or on a Home Depot website. And there are no targeted ads being pushed to that page from your advertising on Facebook or TikTok or social media. So, whatever works for them is fine. I just want to understand the why behind it so that if I run into this again in the future, I can kind of know, why they're doing things a certain way. So
yeah, but
just trying to learn.
To maybe help with sales. I mean, it'll help them and you. I mean, if there's something else that could be done, I don't know, like, would they even make a bigger sign in the store? But like, yeah, you said it's one product.
Yeah.
But they want it to sell too. So it just kind of, I find it odd that you couldn't actually get it up on Amazon somehow, or at least point to the Walmart or point to the your licensee,
Yeah, I mean they don't even like really selling through their own website, just because it's cheaper for them to sell to their wholesalers, and they take care of that. They don't have to deal with returns or paying for transaction fees or Amazon fees, things like that. And I think maybe for a small company that works because they're just in a very small niche and they do really well at it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Do you have a website that you could say, I've got this product, it's selling at Walmart and Home Depot? Could you do that?
I don't know. I don't know if I would. I'm the kind of person that kind of just wants to let them do what they want to do, and move on to the next thing.
Okay, I was just curious. Yeah, all right. Well, especially you said it wasn't one of your favorite projects, so
yeah,
maybe for a passion project, you would.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Sean, how many companies did you reach out to before you decided to go with this company?
For the new stuff or the Halloween stuff?
For the new
5.
Oh, okay. And now
Yep.
why did you end up having had the experience of going through dozens of companies before and knowing that it'll still work out at the end of the day? What was it about this company that you decided to go with them, having only reached out to, 4 other companies?
Because I was talking directly with the owner. I actually use their product and it's a good quality product and they stand behind it. Right. They have a nice section at Home Depot that is well stocked with like different colors and things like that. They seem to have really good communication with their buyer at Home Depot and Walmart. So I felt like there was a lot I could learn about how they sell directly to retail. And I thought that they would be willing to answer a lot of questions for me, and they wouldn't feel like, I don't know, it'd be easier to learn a lot from them than it would be
Yeah.
at a big company.
Less
And
bureaucracies and hoop jumping
yeah,
to the answers.
yeah, and the owner is someone that's very vested in the company. Like it's not just a decision for them and they go home. Like they eat, sleep, and breathe this company. And so I always thought that if I had buy-in from them, that goes a long way.
Yeah. Okay, now remind me again, I'm sorry, you are kind of all over the place. The contract negotiation you're having, is it tomorrow or next week?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's with this company we're speaking of now. Or is that
okay? So the new contract for the Halloween products is coming up in October.
Okay.
And then I have for the new product that I'm trying to license, I have a contract review tomorrow.
Okay. So assuming that goes well, when do you suspect the product will be available? I want to know if we can celebrate.
Yeah, this is one of the tough parts. Originally, it was supposed to be on the market very quickly. In our original conversations, so just to give you a sense, I've been pitching this since I filed my PPA in September.
Okay.
I've been pitching this since October to them. And in our early conversations, they felt confident that they could get it made very quickly and have it on the market in a year.
Okay.
And now, since our last negotiation, that has moved out 2 years from now. So not until Q3 of 2026.
Okay.
Which
I'm
is
sure you'll
a bummer.
stay busy. You'll be
Yeah.
busy. We'll have to have a whole other session just about your organization. Because again, you're in different categories, different products, you're all over the place. Yeah, Ryan, I just caught that other corner of my eye. Ryan, Amazon fees are pretty bad and they're continuing to go up. Thanks, Ryan, for that feedback there. I do want to touch on a couple of those major kind of hurdles. Again, like we are all in very different positions. Some of us are very fresh. Some of us are a little more experienced. Serena just got her patent. Keith has brought things to market himself, all different places here in our journeys. But I thought it would be great if we could just, again, touch on a couple of those things that you mentioned. One of them being you mentioned being a bit of an introvert and how that was sort of hindered your progress. So in terms of your just outreach and in your marketing materials, and I'd be curious to know a little bit about more how, especially with the marketing materials, how did being an introvert sort of stall or halt that in any way?
For sure. And I feel very strongly about that. And
okay,
I'm trying really hard. Like even doing this, speech is a lot for me.
Congratulations. You seem like a natural, Shawn.
Oh, I appreciate it. But it's hard. It's hard to like put the words like that I have in my head, like out there. And so when it comes to marketing materials, like I have a very hard time with like one sentence benefit statements and communicating like the end value to the user rather than just like listing the features. And so I try to practice that a lot, but very early on, like when I go back and look at my sell sheets, I mean, I am just so far off the mark of what I'm doing. It's ridiculous. And yeah, just being an introvert, I tried to do everything myself. I mean, I wrote my first product patent, my own utility patent, and I obviously I didn't pay for InventRight. Like I'm doing this all on the cheap, and I probably could have done a little better if I maybe put some money out there. I just I don't know, but then I would say that after you do it for a while and you just, I don't know, it just gets easier. Every time you repeat things, it just gets easier and easier. Even talking to companies and people, like you feel like you're bothering them and stuff. It's just like I used to practice when I call the companies. I would know the number for a certain department, but I would call to try and get the main office lady because she would kind of like break the ice a little bit. And I would just kind of go through her to get to the right department and, you know, kind of play dumb a little bit like, hey, like, you know, I'm not sure if you're the right person, but I'm trying to do XYZ. Do you know who I might talk to? And then that kind of sometimes gets me in good favor to get directly to the right person.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just yeah, the marketing materials I still struggle with. That's one of my goals for this year is to really practice and get better at that because I'm not really a salesy person. I mean, I feel like as inventors, like we're problem solvers, but like we're not salesmen. So it's just that's tough for me. It's tough to it just feels weird to say, hey, buy my thing. And this is why you should do it. So
Well,
I
it's a gift you're offering people. You know, you don't I wouldn't consider it as if you're asking them for a favor. It's more you're gifting them, you know, whatever this, especially like you mentioned the flagger, the street utility worker type product, like that's going to be huge.
Yep.
I'm thinking about the families of the men and women that are out there on the roads doing that kind of labor and how grateful they're going to be for your product. And, you know, so you're coming in like an angel, you know, not like a salesman. You're not knocking down doors, nagging people. You're saying, hey, I've come to help, you know, so get your cape out maybe next time you make your phone call. You know.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, it's definitely a process. You definitely grow throughout, you know, like they say, like be a no collector. Like collecting those no's is like a badge these days, and it feels good. Because you deal with a lot of different people and you just get better at it. And you don't forget the bad people that you deal with. That you just always remember, like, hey, like if someone starts sounding a little bit like this, like just know that, like, I don't know, he's probably not the right person to deal with. So yeah, anyways.
Of the people you've dealt with, what percentage would you say are quote unquote bad people?
Probably less than 1%. I mean, I probably called 200 companies and I really had just one person that I didn't feel comfortable moving forward with. So it's very small. And
most people are excited. You know, you're bringing them an opportunity to earn more money. So again, just try to get in that mindset, I think would be really helpful. But Serena has a question or a comment.
Yes, thank you so much. And lower my hand. Okay. Shawn, this is like super solid information that you're sharing, and I really appreciate that you are getting over your introversion.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
But I totally know what you mean too. So with that, okay, I have so many questions for you. Okay, the first one is, do you guys know about the 29er Club in InventRight? Okay,
no.
It's 29 like 99, and that's they call it the 29ers Club, and they give you, it's like, I think it's the 10-step process or something to licensing, but they have a exclusive Zoom the second Wednesday of every month.
Oh, great.
Like $30.
That's great.
That's for the $29 membership?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because I was debating on taking it. I mean, I've already done the program a couple of times. So
And
I'm probably going to do that because, they give you access.
I just wanted to keep my foot in that, with
Mhm.
Steven and Andrew and,
The whole
Dana and all them.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was super affordable, and you get there's still so many benefits to that. So, there's that, because I can't afford the other,
not yet, Serena, not yet.
Not yet. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, I'm part of the alum, and that's been for a long time now. So I think I've earned a full membership. I don't know how many times over, and I just never get around
I know
to.
you have. I know.
Yeah. And to kind of to speak to that a little bit in the same way is like I've done this all by myself, like up until this point,
super impressive.
Besides bouncing ideas off my wife, but I would say that's not impressive because I wish I was part of a group like this. You got even the past
but this is the
4 or 5
benefit of it.
This is
Invent creates. This is I think there's a lot of InventRight people here, you know, so you have
Yeah.
all of us and we'll pass on our knowledge too, you know, like our little
I mean,
tidbits.
this is like that. Yeah, Jennifer, thank you. I mean, that's Michelle,
Yeah.
right? Because
That's where I was
it's
getting
like,
to. Thank you, Jennifer, for putting this together because it's been
My
valuable to
pleasure.
hear other people's stories. Even if you just grab one or two things each night, it's
Yeah,
valuable.
thank you, Shawn. Thank you. I appreciate that.
absolutely.
Thank you
And
for that tip, Serena. That's really helpful to know that we can do the 29 a month and still have that Zoom call with everybody. That's great.
you're staying connected to like,
Yeah.
you know, you have like that lifeline,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
umbilical cord.
yeah. I love it.
to-
Don't
And
don't
they have a
stop.
lot of free stuff too, so.
Yeah.
No, and you
Yeah.
know what? Like I know I've spoken to I'm really close with Dana, and I have a really great relationship with Steven, and these people are like
They're cool.
effing real.
Yeah,
They
like,
care, they really care. I think
They
they
do,
really.
and I've gone through so many, you know, other people just like, but they're just like they sincerely love product development. They sincerely love educating others and saving them time and money, and they're good peeps. Like I've
Mm.
been with I've you know been associated with InventRight for 4 years now. So
yeah. And I
you know
think
so
for
the
all
other
of us, it's also just fun and it's exciting to see what people are coming up with. I'm
It's
so
so, you know,
I
and like
inspired
found
this-
by
my
everyone.
tribe. I found my tribe.
Yeah.
this group, like when I see I get so excited when I see the regulars
Yeah.
of this group because they have so much. I mean, we have engineers,
Mhm.
Michael, you know, like we have, and who else was it? Oh wait,
We have a
Sean,
number
you're
of
an engineer.
engineers. Shad's
Yeah, like we have like,
Ryan's an engineer. Yeah, lots
I
of
mean, yeah, that's
engineers.
right.
Sean.
I mean, serious, like we got some like substance here. It's incredible.
We have
Um,
aerospace engineers.
Yeah, crazy. Sean, when you went to connect with these companies, did you was there a particular department that you found was more successful, like the procurement, marketing, project? I mean,
I would stick with it never hurts to just call the front desk. I do that a lot. That's usually my first call. I also take a look at LinkedIn, but I've never connected with anyone on LinkedIn.
that is the best information
Wow.
I have gathered.
Yeah, I have no luck with that. I try and it doesn't really pan out. Calling, I literally just call. I say, hey, can I talk to someone in the XYZ department? They'll say, okay, like this is who you would go to for that. And play dumb sometimes. Just play the dumb inventor
Yeah,
card
yeah, yeah.
sometimes because that'll sometimes get you to someone higher up than you're typically supposed to go to. And just say, hey, you know, yeah, I'm just looking to see if you have a process for this type of thing, and I'd love to submit to you guys. And if you can get a conversation with someone, that it goes a long way. You have their full attention. Ask any questions you want. You know, be respectful of their time, and then just try to get it to that next step of, okay, great, I'm happy to submit. How would you like me to submit? Get their email, and then always what I'm trying to really do is set an expectation of when to follow up with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm always sitting wondering if I'm following up enough or not following up enough or bothering them. So as of 2 weeks ago, I always set up a time to meet back with them again.
Nice.
So I think that's super important to stay organized. So
That's more helpful information. Thank you. Thanks, Serena. Shawn, there's two more topics I want to touch on really quickly. We are on the hour, so I'll try to keep this short. But the other things that you mentioned was your struggle sort of with the target audience and finding maybe whether there's interest. Is that
yeah,
the kind of concern you had or struggle?
yeah, I think it's kind of just that like mentality of like, oh, like I have an idea, but it's not a good idea. Like no one's gonna want this, and it kind of trickles down to like I'm not a big like consumer myself. Like I don't buy a lot of things, so I don't know what the mentality is of like just seeing something randomly and wanting to buy it. Typically, when I go to a store, I know what I'm going there for. So I've been trying to learn a lot about like you know how retailers target their customers by placing products in certain sections and, you know, being certain colors and like what are the words that what are the emotions that you're trying to trigger, things like that, to kind of get a better sense of like, okay, well, how do I break that down into like a one sentence benefit statement of why they should buy my product.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like taking a few steps back and like trying to learn the basics of like just advertising in general, and that's helping me a lot to just kind of be better at being a little salesy and like just trying to come up with those words.
Yeah. Well, what about your research regarding the products already on the market? And I feel like with the pumpkin ones, I don't recall seeing anything really like those. So I don't know if this would really apply, but maybe for the other product that you're in contract negotiations for now, are you looking at the 1, 2, 3-star reviews on similar products and then building from there where there are kind of white spaces or issues with products that already exist?
So I don't know why I don't do that. I haven't looked into that.
Okay.
Yes, I should.
It'd be amazing to see what you come up with because you're already clearly like doing a great job. So if you have that additional information, I imagine you would do even better. But maybe you don't need it. Maybe you're just kind of like operating on a higher level than we are, which is super cool.
If you saw my sell sheets, you would not say that.
Okay. Listen, if you ever want to show us, you can drop them in the group page if you want. You can bring them up on any call. You're welcome to do that. We love to see some sell sheets, bad or good.
Yeah.
Also, with your marketing struggles, have you turned to ChatGPT or any similar kind of?
Recently, yeah. So recently, I've been using Midjourney to create a lot of AI images, and for my next idea that I'm working on, that's how I'm going to do the sell sheet for a lot of the like lifestyle images,
Okay.
like showing someone using the product.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to really try to leverage that because it really looks really professional.
Absolutely.
And
But
like
what
a
about
real
Shawn?
advertisement.
You said something about your one-line benefit statement being
Yeah.
a challenge for you.
Yeah.
And I think you can really find some value in using AI for that and giving it specific prompts. So I don't know if
Okay.
you've taken that. You've
Yeah,
done,
the
but that might be something you can look
ChatGPT,
into.
definitely. That's kind of what I was referring to, like the language, the copy, your struggle with,
Oh, okay. No, I
condensing
haven't.
it. Sean, I think it's going to change your life and you're going to be like pumping out ideas so quickly. It's not, a one-stop shop. It's not going to fix everything, but I personally, and I know many of us find it really helpful to have that service available to just say, hey, here's my benefit, but I want to say it, or here's the feature, but I want to rephrase it in a way that focuses on the emotional benefit within, 5 words or less, 10 words or less, and you
Awesome.
can play around. And it is really, I find it, again, personally, my own experience has been really helpful. So
Awesome. I'll do
we'll
that.
get you going on that. And Michelle.
Yeah, I was actually going to say pretty much what you just said there. If you prompt, like you can be very specific about
Yeah.
your prompts.
Yeah.
And then just say, I would like, this is my concept. Can you please give me a fun and quick benefit statement? It'll spit out, like, so I would like 15 versions of benefit statements, highlighting this, catering
Yeah.
to such and such a target market, like be very specific and you'll get a lot of great answers. But I wanted to say also Canva is free, right? You can do a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in Canva.
Yeah.
Did we lose him?
He's here. He
Okay.
moved.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Sorry, far corner. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, no, you can even do like, take your own telephone, sell images and stuff, and you can merge and add text and sound on Canva for free. So
Yeah.
like I did my whole sizzle video on Canva with my phone, and that was
Cool.
about it. So yeah, there's free sounds or music that you can use. You can use your own voiceover and then just insert. Super easy, super fun.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That was it.
You should be on Fiverr, Michelle, and offer those services.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not. I mean, if there's people that want to, like Shawn, I can show you my sell sheet for a game that I worked on, and you could see, I'll tell you everything that I did and how I did it if you're interested.
100%. Yeah, I love
It's
that. Thank
super
you.
cool. Yeah. And then you just
I'll put my
upload it.
email in the I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay. I'll give you a hand with it if I can too, you know. I'm not gonna do Fiverr though, that's for damn sure. Sorry.
All right.
And Jennifer, can I just touch on one more thing too that I thought was important that
yours.
I wrote down?
Please.
So I don't have any minimum guarantees in either of those first two contracts or the one that I'm signing right now. And I don't feel great about it. And I'll tell you why. So 3 years ago, I signed the Halloween, products.
Yeah.
And in the past, even though it's only been on the market for 2 years, it really has not sold well. And I'm talking like less than $1,000 in royalties that I've seen.
Thank you so much for that information, Shawn. Thank
Yes.
you for sharing that. That is huge.
I will say though that they have tried a lot to sell it. It's been on the Today Show.
Yeah.
I sent you that video. It's been
Yep.
They pitched it to CVS, they pitched it to Target, they pitched it to a lot of companies. So 2021 they were pitching, 2022 they were pitching, 23. So it's been tough because their products are doing great. Their products are all over the place. They co-brand their other products with some other big names, and they do great. And so it's been difficult to sit back and say, well, why isn't my stuff doing great? So that's part of this. And so I'm coming up on the contract review this year in October. And they've been great to work with. It's another really small company. It's literally 2 guys.
Wow.
And they do a great job with their stuff and their marketing and getting things out there. I don't think it's a lack of them trying, because I've seen the commercials, I've seen the advertising, and it just hasn't pushed through. So I don't know where it goes from here. I'm hoping that they want to renew.
Where is it available? Where are the Halloween products? Are they in the Halloween spirit stores or Walmarts or Targets or CVS or where? Or just online?
Right now, I don't know who's carrying it this year. So last year, it was in a few catalogs.
Okay.
I believe one of the Hallmark catalogs had some. They sold a bunch through Amazon last year, but it looks like they've since taken down the Amazon listing. And I think that they're just still pitching it at trade shows and trying to get some other retailer buy-in. So I don't know, to be honest with you.
So you mentioned that minimum guarantees for the contract negotiation, but I'm wondering, and I've heard this a couple times recently, where people are getting licensing deals, but they're not asking about what the plans for distribution are. So
I know that would be super important to lay that out. Yeah.
Okay. So when you signed, you didn't know specifically what their plans were going to be, where it was going to land.
No, they communicated, we're going to push this as much as we can through all our existing channels, all our existing buyers. We're going to push it online on Amazon. It just hasn't stuck. They just haven't taken it on for whatever reason. So it's tough because it only sells for 1 month, and so to anyone doing a holiday product, just be aware, like if it doesn't hit, it may not hit, and that's okay. Move on to the next thing. But we're going to see where that goes. But it would have been nice to just get a little bit of minimum guarantees to kind of cover the money I put up for the patents, which I'm not doing for this new deal. So I learned that lesson.
Can you convert your product into something, let's say for Valentine's Day?
I was just
like
gonna
stacking hearts or something.
That's exactly, there's so many applications to your product.
It's tough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I
Michelle?
try not to put a whole lot of mental
We'll get
energy
back to
toward
you,
it, but
Sean. Michelle and I are gonna
Okay.
work on this.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
It's interesting because you said it's only on sale for 1 month, but I know in like the Michael's and Joanne's Fabric, they have Halloween stuff already. So I don't know if
No.
that's an area that they're able to reach out to for distribution, but
Yeah,
maybe
and what's tough
throw
too
it
is,
at 'em.
when I signed on, they wanted to go out there at a certain price, and I thought it was a little high, and it turns out it was, and they've since had to bring the price down to be more along with what other things are selling for. So
Okay.
just a few bullet points,
Yeah.
pricing, talk about it in the beginning, talk about the rollout plan, talk about how
Yeah.
they're going to market it. Not that you have control over these things, but at least you can set your expectations, so that you're not really disappointed if things don't go your way.
Yeah.
And yeah, just trust that you're going to come up with other ideas and just kind of roll with the punches.
Definitely, definitely. So one other question, Sean, you had mentioned working on your own utility patents. I know you said you have design patents on the Halloween things. Is the utility patent for a totally different product, or was that initially for the
Yeah.
Halloween products?
Yeah, so the patent that I wrote was for my first product, which is like a snow brush for a car. It's just got some different features to it, and so I didn't want to pay to have that done, so I wrote my own.
Okay.
And then I had another company, after it was rejected, I had them modify my claims, and then it passed. So I have
Okay.
that patent to try and license at this point. So we'll
Okay.
see.
But moving forward, you don't think you would work on your own patents again?
No, it's just not. It's just a lot of energy. I think going into a conversation with a company, try to show your value, show your PPA. Don't be afraid to refile your PPA if it's 7 months in. Just refile it and start the clock again.
Yeah.
It kind of does something to you mentally, where it kind of like refreshes you and says, okay, like my clock is restarted, and I feel confident that I'm not going to be rushed. And try to shoot for minimum guarantees. I haven't been successful with that yet, but I'm trying to. I'm going to in my next one. That's my goal.
Okay.
And then yeah, just try to communicate with them on what their rollout plan is going to be, and try to just be easy to work with.
Yeah. Are you sitting on dozens of ideas?
I would say maybe 12-ish, but I would say, I mean, 4 of those are probably just like, hey, I found this problem, and this may be a solution. And then the other 8 are probably, half of them are probably prototyped and like, okay, I just don't know if there's a market for this.
Okay.
And then I'm actively pitching like 2 ideas at a time.
Oh, nice. And what categories are they in now?
So the flower one, the
Okay.
flower vase one, is the one I'm pitching, and then I'm gonna start. Well, it was this construction one,
Oh, okay.
but I'm gonna start pitching the snow brush idea, hopefully to try to see if I can get something with that one. But
Okay.
we'll see.
So you really are in so many different categories. Is there been ever a time where you thought maybe I should stick to one category just because it does take so much time? Well, it can take so much time to build these relationships.
Honestly, I don't know. I would say that I don't have a hard time finding plenty of companies that are willing to talk to me.
Nice.
So I feel like that's probably the fun part, is reaching out to companies at this point and finding them and things like that. So I don't really like, as far as like coming up with ideas, like I don't really like look at an industry and try to invent for that industry, although I wish I could, like maybe I will in the future.
Yeah.
I kind of like just like seeing problems and just trying to solve them. And then, okay, if I solved it, like, is this a licensable idea?
Yeah.
So to me, that's what keeps it fun. But who knows in the future?
Okay. Serena has a question, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up after Serena.
Okay, I'll make this real quick. Next week's IGA meeting is on AI. Somebody had posted that. I think it was Keith No, it was not Keith. It was somebody who had mentioned that the IGA meeting next Wednesday is
Yep.
going to be on AI. So I'm really looking forward to how we can
Me
utilize
too.
that. Sean, can you help me connecting with people? Because I'm solely doing it on LinkedIn, and people
I
know
haven't had
we're
luck.
connecting, but we're connecting, but there's nothing after that. It's like crickets.
Just
So,
call.
and
That's all you got to do is just
that's
call,
it.
because
That's it.
yeah,
I-
even if that's the most uncomfortable thing for you, I would just do
That's
that, because
I have like telephobia. I do have telephobia.
yeah,
So
you're gonna get a yes or no quicker than waiting for someone to get back to you. So I would just build
that's
a
a
list,
great
a
way to
call
look
list.
at it, you guys. Get a yes or no quicker than waiting for it. I like that. I love it. Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, Keith. You're on mute, Keith. There you go.
Sorry. Yeah, just a note to you, Serena. And I think maybe Jennifer can share with you the telephone lady
Yeah.
recording.
Yes.
Remember, I mean, I took away something from her session with us that was so good. Is making phone calls is like printing your own money.
Mm-hmm.
Following up is like
Right.
printing your own money.
When
Yeah.
was this? It
Yeah.
was this last week.
This
Oh,
was
no,
one
it's
of
been-
our early calls with Mary Jane Copps, who is a professional communication
Oh,
coach.
I already know that was on the thing of the follow up, right?
Yep. The art of the
That was like
follow-up,
one of my
exactly.
first, that was like my first innovators meeting.
Yeah.
And is that one recorded? Is that
It
one?
is recorded, but it's not public. So if anyone wants to see that, please send me a message and I will make sure you have the link. I
Thank
wish
you,
she would let
Keith.
maybe
Thank you, Keith.
I'll ask her if she'll let me make that one public, because it is so valuable. There's so much quality information in that session. I just wish InventRight would bring her on, because I know so many people would benefit from her. But yeah, Keith, thank you for that reminder. Mary Jane Copps, the phone lady. She's on LinkedIn as well and is constantly putting out little articles and little posts about communication and reaching out and how valuable and how important it is. And I do want to mention, there are a number of comments that I haven't gotten a chance to look at in the chat. So while we wrap up here, if there's anything that anyone wanted to share that we didn't get to that was in the chat, please raise your hand or just shout it out. Let me know. Tryman has something here. I don't know what that is.
Sean, I sent you back a response just to make sure you have my email address.
Okay. Oh, Tryman, I still don't know what that is, but thanks for being here.
Thank you, Edgar.
I noticed there was something from
You're welcome, see.
There was something from Chad here. Oh, Chad, you're in your welding gear. Hey, bring it on. We like laborers here too. What else here? Oh, meaning to get one of these. Oh, thank you, Chad. I'm so glad that you could make it tonight. Okay, I think maybe is that it from the chat? I don't know. You guys forgive me if I missed any. Oh, Chad, what did you say here? If you have any funds that you can put into a working prototype, I consider that the best investment you can make in your journey. A lot can be learned from a good prototype or a bad prototype. I find it a really beneficial in learning whether or not it will actually do what you want it to do, but also I always end up with new iterations, because typically maybe you don't have the part that's exactly what you're looking for, so you have to use something else, but then that ends up, getting the wheels turning and you're like, oh, well, wait, if I do that. So I love making prototypes. That's, I think, the best part of this, but okay, we're over the hour. I'm overheated. Quickly, next week. Oh, well, first of all, Sean, this was huge. This was so valuable. I can't thank you enough. I know everyone has gleaned a lot of information, really valuable information, and I'm really proud of you for coming out of your comfort zone. I hope you can continue to sort of find benefit and find joy and fun in doing so. It's
I
a
feel like
good-
I jumped over all over the place, but thank you. I tried.
No, there's a lot to cover. I mean, we could have this conversation for another 4 hours, I think. So, again, just even if we didn't really dig into your venturing, we didn't dig into all of the other products you're working on. There's so much out there. And like we mentioned earlier, licensing isn't really an A to B kind of situation. There's A to Z and a lot of gray in between. So it kind of suits the journey that you've been on, kind of a little bit all over the place. And that's perfect. Again, we're on all of us are in very different positions in our journey. So hopefully we were able to touch on something for everybody tonight. If you haven't connected with Shawn online, please do so. We are meeting again next Thursday, as per usual, 8 p.m. And it will be a return to our coffee and catch up sessions. I'm so excited. It's been a few weeks since we had one because of scheduling conflicts and our guest speakers. So if you haven't been to the coffee and catch up sessions, we're going to be digging into more of our personal journeys. We're able to share a little bit more during those sessions. They're not recorded. Keith has mentioned he just refiled. I'm in the process of refiling. So we'll be able to chat about that briefly. I think that should be helpful for folks, and everything else that is going on with all of us, because I know there's a lot out there. And I hope, you know, it's only a week and it goes by fast, but maybe we'll even have something to celebrate next week. Fingers crossed. And if not next week, the following week. And as always, if you have any suggestions for different types of formats that you want to experience with our group, or other guest speakers that you'd like to have on, please don't hesitate. Let me know. I'm all ears, and I really appreciate you guys. You all know that by now, I think. It's such a great time. It's my favorite time of the week, and I'm so fortunate and just so grateful that you're all so welcoming and so supportive for all of us, and so eager to share and see all of us do well. You know, this group has only been together for under a year now, and I really look forward to seeing where we all are this time next year. I think it's going to be a very exciting chapter for all of us. So I think that's it, you guys. Thank you, Shawn, one last time.
Hey,
Thank you,
so
everyone.
much. Yeah, great
Wish you
info.
so much luck moving forward, and can't wait to
Good
see.
luck tomorrow.
Yeah,
I know.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Huge.
Yeah.
You'll have to report back if you're able to
Yeah.
join us next week. I know it's tricky. A lot of you guys have very busy, full plates, families, kids, dogs, jobs, third, fourth, fifth jobs. So whenever you are able to attend in any capacity, you're able to attend. It's always really appreciated. All right. And I think that's it for now, you guys. So we'll see you next week, I hope.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
absolutely.
Do you want to stay on the
I
line
hope-
for 5 minutes?
What?
Jennifer, could you stay on the line for a few
Yeah,
minutes?
I
after
can
this?
definitely stay on. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you guys have. Oh, I'm so happy to always see all of you guys.
So great.
Yeah, way to go on the tennis.
Have a good one,
Thank
guys. Thanks.
you.
Thank you, Shawn.
Thank you. Oh,
So-
Michelle, thank you so much. That was super exciting to get into sectionals.
Yeah,
Chris, did you hear that?
yeah.
You guys have a good one. Love you guys.
You.
Back at you. Bye.
Go.